Sir Mo Farah, the four-time Olympic gold medalist, one of the world's fastest long-distance runners. His athletic accomplishments turning his life in Britain into a fairy tale of sorts, even becoming a knight. But despite his speed and determination, even he couldn't outrun the pain of his past.
Most people know me as Mo Farah, but it's not my name or it's not the reality. The real story is I was born in Somaliland, north of Somalia, as Hussein Abdi Kahin.
The 39-year-old making that shocking revelation in a new documentary from Red Bull Studios and the BBC called The Real Mo Farah.
And I was brought into the UK illegally under the name of another child called Mohammed Farah.
It's a secret he's kept for more than 20 years. Farah says as a child he was trafficked, forced into domestic labor for the family he lived with.
It's so rare that you come across a story that is both like universal and timeless themes, and there's this relatable, courage under adversity, the need to be seen for who you are. Everyone thought that they knew Mo Farah.
The news startled the world.
So Mo Farah has revealed he was brought to the UK illegally.
Trafficked to London as a child.
To work as a domestic servant.
Drew attention to the plight of trafficking survivors.
I think it's extremely brave. What we do know is that individuals that have suffered this type of trauma through abuse and exploitation carry it with them for the rest of their lives and quite often question themselves time and time again. If it can happen to somebody like Sir Mo, who has achieved so much in his life, then in fact it could happen to any of us.
It's estimated that at any one time, there are more than 40 million people being trafficked across the globe. At 4, Farah's dad was tragically killed in Somalia's civil war. He was sent to live with a relative in the neighboring country of Djibouti. From there, he says he was illegally smuggled into the United Kingdom.
This is the visa document.
Yeah, this is the visa to come to the UK, and this was the document we came with.
You would have been 9, you hadn't turned 10 yet.
Yeah, that is my photo, but it's not my name.
Once he arrived in London, Farah says he was forced into domestic servitude, told to keep quiet about his true identity.
He arrives in the UK and he realized very quickly that it wasn't what he was told it was going to be.
He left Somaliland with a piece of paper with his relatives in Holland. He said that when the lady took him into her home, she took the piece of paper from him and tore it into pieces and threw it away in front of him. And in his words, he says, it was at that moment I knew I was in trouble.
From day one, the lady, what she did wasn't right. I wasn't treated as part of the family. I was always that kid who did everything. I don't know, more someone like who works for you, who's just, that's your space, that's our space, this is what you do. If I wanted food in my mouth, my job was to look after those kids, shower them, cook for them, clean for them. And she said, if you ever want to see your family again, don't say anything. If you say anything, they will take you away.
Domestic servitude is quite often the exploitation of vulnerable people, often younger people who are forced to work in private households behind closed doors. It's quite often the most hidden type of exploitation that we see.
Eventually, Farah convinced the family to allow him to go to school in 7th grade. And at school, he took a risk, confiding in his gym teacher, Alan Watkinson.
I was scared, but I couldn't go back there. And I couldn't put up with this anymore. And that's the point. I told him everything.
Mo told me he wasn't the son of the person that he was living with. That he'd been brought over to do all the jobs, look after the smaller children. He also then explained that actually his name wasn't Mohammed Farah. He was removed from his family, that he was given a new identity and brought over here to do jobs and chores.
That teacher would help him find a new place to live and eventually help him get British citizenship. But Farah continued to think about the family he'd been torn away from in Somalia as a boy. His mother also wondering about him, having no idea what happened to her son.
laba is dhashay ma kala hadho xabaal mooyaane kolba halkay joogaan unba iska war qaadaane waan ogaaday inuu ku nool yahay Ingiriiska.
Farah's mother managed to get an audio recording to Mo.
And I remember he said, if this is a bother or causing you trouble, don't, just leave it. You don't have to contact me. And I'm going, I mean, no, of course I'm going to contact you. And at that point, that's when I first called my mum.
10 sano maxaa ku qabanaya dhowr iyo 10 sano isagaaba malaha aanan waxba ka haynin kolkii aan maqlay muraayadiisa ay hor joogteen saa u hayay ayaan ina jabiyaba doonay ina jabiyo dhex garaba ayaan doonay farxad darteed awgeed.
I just remember going, Mum, yeah, she's like, yeah, how you doing?
farxadii baan ku iloobay farxadii kolkii aan helo ila hadlay uun baaban iskaba ilooban fududaaday wax walba waan ku fudud.
How's Hassan? He's doing good. And I remember that moment was just to know that your mum's okay and she's alive. And they're all okay. For me, it was like, everyone's okay.
Through 2 Olympics and growing fame, Farah kept his true identity a secret.
You came to the UK from Somalia when you were 8?
8 years old, yeah.
In talk show and media appearances, he would say he came to the UK to live with his dad.
I just remember being excited and, seeing my dad was a big part for me. It was just going there. And I was just excited to come off the plane, met him.
Quite often, survivors don't want to talk about that trauma because it does re-traumatise them. And so keeping it hidden for so long is not uncommon and not unusual.
Farah has quietly visited his family over the years, recently bringing his young son Hussein. The people who Farah says took him have not been identified publicly or responded to the allegations.
I hope the fact that Sir Mo has come out will be an inspiration, that will allow us to have a much more open conversation about what's happening in the world.
For Farah, his public revelation is just the beginning of living in his truth.
I'm starting to understand me. Me. Not Mohammed Farah. Me. Hussein Abdi Kahin.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.